Okay, here we are at the end of Q1, and it's time to kind of take a second and evaluate if the systems and procedures that we have in place for our 2025 business are going to get us where we need them to go. We still have time to make adjustments and to double down. If not, we got to ask ourselves, am I working on systems and models that are good enough for right now, or are they scalable and going to build out the business that I truly desire to have? Shortcuts are fine. That's what we're talking about today is shortcuts. If we think about the analogy of taking a highway versus taking the scenic bypass, it's great. It's going to get us there more quickly. You don't have to really think about it. But there are costs to taking the shortcut. You're going to miss the mom and pop store that sells candy on the side of the road. You're going to miss, speaking of side of the road, you're going to miss the roadside zoos that are kind of creepy and weird, but you're going to be talking about for the rest of the trip. You're going to miss the pretty views. You're going to be stuck on the highway. There are costs associated. So in order for us to really evaluate the systems and procedures that we have in place for your business, first we have to acknowledge what are the costs that we are giving or paying in order to take these shortcuts. So let's go through a couple of steps that will allow us to look at, are the shortcuts that I'm taking costing my business in the long run or not? The first step is that we're going to stop and face the facts. This is always first step for any situation that we're working through from a business leadership standpoint. First and foremost, we have to face the facts. For a shortcut perspective, we're going to ask ourselves a question like, what's a fire that I've been too busy or perhaps afraid to slow down and look at and evaluate and figure out what's going on? Essentially, where do I have my fingers plugged in the holes of the leaks on my ship that I need to address now? We all know what these are. The second step is going to be that I have to believe that there's a better way. Otherwise, there's no point in just simply identifying all the problems. I have to believe that there's a better way. So this might come in the form of a couple of different things. I might reach out to peers that I know that have a better system in place for this particular issue that I'm facing. I might intentionally go to a conference that is going to discuss some of the issues that I'm facing. I might pick up a book, might discuss this more with a coach. Some way, somehow, I need to get some ideas into my brain that allow me to think that there's a better way to do what I'm currently doing. And then lastly, we're not going to change things wildly overnight. This is going to be an intentional process of steering the ship here, right? We're not going to take another shortcut to solve a shortcut. So the question becomes, for a pledge to progress, what do I need to do right now to pledge to progress in this matter that is going to help to start to turn things around? So what we're looking for here is just one small change. What is one small change that I can implement that's going to make a massive difference over the long haul, over this next quarter? One thing that helps with cutting some of these shortcuts, because these shortcuts tend to take place when we're stressed, we're in the middle of things at work, and we just need to make something happen real quick, right? One of the things that's going to slow this down is to implement a daily reset practice. This could be any number of things. It could be slowing down for prayer and meditation. It could be journaling. It could be having a daily meeting with your operations team. Highly recommend. It could also look like this. One thing that we could look at is a series of questions that we're just glancing at on a daily basis and answering for ourselves. So this might sound like, what's the one thing I keep ignoring that I need to deal with today? What's the one thing I keep ignoring that I need to deal with today? Another question might be, what's the simplest action I can take to make tomorrow better? Or lastly, we could look at, how can I show up more intentionally in this next hour? Notice that we're not talking about what's the one thing I can do that'll radically change my business for the rest of the year. We're talking about days, hours, weeks. We're breaking things down and looking at what can I do that's going to make a difference right now and habit stacking that over the long haul. You'll also notice that most of those questions circle around the one thing. What's the one thing such that by doing it, everything else becomes easier or unnecessary? The question posed in the one thing book. So if you're finding yourself stuck on the shortcut route and realizing this is only getting you in small chunks of growth, but not the larger growth that you're looking for, slow down. Make sure that you face the facts. Make sure that you do have a belief that better is possible, and then make a small pledge to progress.